Welcome back to Florida Man Garage. On the last episode, we got this frame ready to put the engine back in. And on this episode, we got it back in. We set it back down in here. We got the transmission hooked back up. We got everything bolted back together. Got the accessories on the front, got the belt on. So on the next episode, we're going to be cutting up the frame and finally getting those other mounts on so we can put the other body on. Had a problem with the card. It said it wasn't formatted, so I'm not sure if it got me putting this water pump on, but all I did was clean out the threads, put the new water pump on. I did the first set of torque on these, and I'm gonna do the second set, which I think is 22 foot-pounds. Okay, water pump's on. Next I'm gonna put the thermostat housing on. Just gonna put this thermostat housing back on now. Water pump installed. Get this power steering pump back into its bracket here. Okay, ready to put this back on the engine. Put this power steering bracket back on. Gonna put this power steering pulley back on now that I pissed my wife off by putting it in the oven. It's supposed to do that? I feel like it should not do that. Gonna put this belt tensioner on now. Time to get the alternator back in here. Couple of love taps here. Gonna do this PCV valve real quick. Gonna leave this cap on it for now. Put this temp sensor in next. Time to replace all these spark plugs. It's amazing that this truck was running and decently at that. I mean, look at that humongous gap. Try to show you a new one. That's what it's supposed to look on the left, and that's what they look like on the right. Did you know that spark plugs were called bougies also? Yeah, I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it, but I like it. Just gonna go ahead and put these bougies in. Equally bad on this side. Bougies installed. So I went to the junkyard and I got this sway bar for 20 bucks and I painted it black. I got new links, new bushings, cleaned and painted up the brackets and the bolts. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that rear sway bar on right now. Just gonna start by putting the links on and then we'll put the actual sway bar up. Oh geez, that's pretty hard to get in there. I don't know how I just put this on the wrong way. Putting the bushings on right now. Oh, that took way longer than it was supposed to. It's not even done. Still need to torque everything, but about done for tonight. I'm gonna try to finish getting this motor ready to go back in and maybe even try to put it back in tonight. We'll see how far we get. Start by changing out this crank sensor. Definitely looks old. Put a little bit of grease in this O-ring here. Do the cam sensor next. This looks pretty nasty too, so I'm glad we're changing that out. But before I change that out, I want to try to get this oil pressure sender off. They make a special tool for it, but I'm hoping I might be able to get it with some pliers or something, because I really don't want to buy a special socket just for this, but I will if we have to. Okay, got it to turn. Okay, gonna get the new sensors for these two. Okay, got the new oil pressure sensor here. Okay, it's pretty good. Hope that doesn't leak. Put this cam sensor in now. Greased up this O-ring. Okay, got those 3 sensors changed out. Next thing we're gonna do is put on these motor mounts. All right, time for the other side. Motor mounts are now installed. The last 2 things I need to do before we can get this engine in there is putting on the flex plate on the rear and putting on the new dampener bolt and torquing that down. So I need to get it off the stand onto this lift here. Okay, I guess it's ready for the flex plate. Time to put this flex plate back on. Just gonna use a little bit of oil here, putting a little bit here so it slides on nicely. There's 3 different torque sequences here. Do 15 pounds first, 37 next. Okay, I gotta get that little tool thing that holds it. Last one is 74. I think it's ready to go back in. Just hope I'm not forgetting anything. I'm gonna mark these 3 holes here so I can see them a little bit better. This one is the centering one, so I think we do this one first. Mark this in yellow here. All right, I'm gonna try to maneuver this engine over there, see if I can get it back in this frame tonight. Oh, I still have to torque that front bolt. Probably do that real quick. So I'm gonna use the old bolt first, just to make sure that this is all the way down as far as it can go. And they say to torque this to 240 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna try to do that with that new torque wrench that I got. So now with the new bolt, it says first thing to do is torque it to 110 foot-pounds. You know, this probably makes sense to do it when it's in the truck, actually. I don't see any reason why I can't do this in the truck, but we made it this far, so might as well keep going. This is 110 foot-pounds. Okay, I'm gonna do that when it's in the truck. It's too hard to torque all that right now. So let's just continue with getting it in the truck. I feel like I definitely should have put this on after the engine was in the car. Just love doing stuff twice. Now I got some more room to come down. Okay, all 6 bolts are hand tight. And tighten them down here a little bit. It's completely in. Getting the transmission to mount up is probably the harder part. I think I need to jack the rear up a little bit. I guess I'm going to try to jack up the rear of the transmission because it definitely needs a tilt. Wow, did that just slide right in? I think that's literally it. Try to get a bolt in on this side just to hold here because it looks pretty good. Or maybe this top one here. So now it looks like it needs to come, the bottom needs to come in this way. I think I need to get the strap off. I'm gonna try to get that little jack and put it on the front of the transmission. See if I can tilt it that way. There we go. Oh, it's perfect. So I got these bolts in before that thing slips. I think that's good enough to let this down. Get those last 2 bolts in. Last one on that side. Can't believe that's just totally back in now. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out that transmission mount, and then we can get everything all set up. Here's the old compared to the new. Gonna slide this one in. Should be done with this job. Just spray some paint under there. Let that dry for a second. All right, just gonna go ahead and slide this new mount in here. Gonna torque these. Gonna lower the transmission back down. Make sure these bolts line up. Okay, I'd like to torque the belt housing bolts, motor mount bolts, and the harmonic balancer bolt. That'll be it for tonight. Gonna torque the motor mount bolts. All right, the motor is in and torqued. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment right there. That I was able to get this out, clean it up, whatever, got it back in, torqued, everything lines up. Still have to do the hardest part, which is get those torque converter bolts to line up. Forgot about that, but we'll definitely do that some other time. Just gonna torque down this dampener bolt here, and that's gonna do it for tonight. So I torqued it to 110. Now I have to loosen it back up, and then I'll torque 59 foot-pounds. And then it says to tighten it 125 degrees. So I'm gonna try my best here with that. So 90 degrees is gonna be here, 180 will be here. So I'm gonna get that marked somewhere in this general area. That looks like 90 right there. Just a little bit more. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Now that's torqued. It's officially in here. All right, today I'm gonna start by putting on this idler pulley, taking off this lift thing here, putting back on, putting the knock sensors in, and then the valley pan cover, and then maybe starter, exhaust. I need to do those torque converter bolts. Start out with something kind of easy though. All right, gonna put on the valley pan cover, new gasket, put the knock sensors in. Time to torque this down. All right, time to put the knock sensors in. Torque these knock sensors down. Move on to the next thing. I think I'm gonna do the torque converter bolts next. Okay, I got the first one started there. Now I'm gonna rotate the engine so I can see the next one in that little panel here. There we go. Okay, one more to go. Okay, they're all started. I gotta figure out how I can get the torque wrench in there. I'm sure there's some combination of extensions and wobble extensions and patience that I don't have, but I'm just gonna get these as tight as I can with this wrench, and I'm gonna call that good. It's supposed to be torqued to 46 foot-pounds. Feel like I can get 46 foot-pounds out of this. If I can lock this crank somehow. See if my wife will hold this wrench real quick. Okay, where'd my wrench go?
Lost the winch.
Wrench.
Found the winch. What's it called?
A wrench.
I thought you said winch. Found the winch.
You're probably messing up the focus every time you do that. Okay, ready? Okay, that's good.
It's good? I pushed it.
Okay, now there's 2 more to do though. Okay.
Good?
One more.
Good?
Yep.
Wow. I did it.
Yeah.
Did the winch.
All right, gonna try wrestling the starter next. Gotta torque those and that's done. Starter installed. Gonna get this belt on real quick. I'm going to torque down the valve covers and then I'm going to put on the coil packs and then that'll be it for tonight. Cleaned up these coil packs and the bracket, put that back on now. Get the other side on and then I think we are going to call it a night. All right, let's get this puppy on. That's going to do it for this episode. We got the engine back in the frame, and on the next episode we're going to start cutting the mounts off this frame, getting the new mounts on here, and probably pull the body off the C10. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.